Scooby Doo is one of the most recognizable and successful children's television properties ever created. Conceived by Fred Silverman, the original concept, brought to life by William Hanna and Joseph Barbera, was Who's Scared, which featured a dog named Too Much and revolved around a band who solved mysteries.
Hey!
Sorry, everyone.
You did that on purpose.
Now it looks like a shooting star.
After being rejected by CBS twice, one time for being too scary and the second time for being too boring, the show was reworked into Scooby Doo, Where Are You?, and quickly rose in popularity. Over the decades, it spawned 13 television series, over 40 animated films, 5 live-action movies, comic books, and children's books. Not all of these iterations have been good, memorable, or even passable. Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Get a Clue is terrible. Velma needs no introduction.
You know what 420 is, right?
Yeah. It's code for adults who still watch cartoons.
And many of the films don't get much attention outside of memes or jokes at their expense.
That was amazing!
Seen amazing.
How'd you know where we were?
Daphne texted me.
Naturally.
However, there have been a few gems throughout this long run of content, and today I'd like to discuss what are, in my opinion, the 3 best Scooby-Doo animated films. I think that for a Scooby-Doo movie to really work, it has to take the basic themes of Scooby-Doo and twist them in some way. The main theme being the idea that humans are the real monsters, and the scary stuff is a diversion away from the real villainy going on. Greed is also a central theme, as most of the monsters' motivations revolve around money or power in some way. Revenge, another common motive, could also be seen as an extension of the theme of greed, as the reason for revenge is usually the loss of money or the villain believing they are owed something from the victims. Sometimes a Scooby property will leave these ideas behind to try something new, which is how we end up with straight-up odd movies like Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf or Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School, which are fun films but feel more like another franchise with Scooby characters cameoing.
The werewolf has moved to Florida.
How dare he retire just before the Monster Road Rally?
And Dracula knows where to find a new werewolf fast.
Randy, a werewolf? Oh, no! Oh, no! I'm a werewolf!
Better Scooby media will take these ideas and weave them into something new, like Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, which is a great example of how these older ideas and formulas can mesh well with a show that focuses more on character development and interpersonal relationships, while still feeling like Scooby-Doo. The worst, however, will take the formula and do nothing with it, change nothing, and try nothing new. And these films always end up feeling like basic episodes that got stretched to over an hour, such as Aloha Scooby-Doo or Scooby-Doo and the Loch Ness Monster. More recent Scooby media has tried to branch out, like the 2020 film Scoob, but even this misses what I think makes other Scooby movies really great.
Scooby!
Middle name?
Dooby?
Last name?
Doo.
All right. If the dog has a middle name, that is no punishment for damages or theft.
The 3 films I would like to discuss are, I believe, the best at taking the themes of Scooby and twisting them, giving a new perspective or outlook on the messaging of Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island has the honor of being the first Scooby-Doo property where the monsters are confirmed to be real. I say confirmed because other Scooby-Doo episodes sometimes tease the idea that some of it was real, such as the Scooby-Doo Where Are You episode Hassle in the Castle.
I'm so scared. I wish I had a ham sandwich to calm my nerves. Well, what do you know? A ham sandwich. Wouldn't you know it needs some mustard? This has got to be my imagination, otherwise I'd be scared stiff.
Or the What's New Scooby-Doo episode Big Scare and the Big Easy.
Did I thank you guys for saving me?
Thank yourself, Daph. We never would have known you were there if you hadn't wailed so loud for help.
But I never called for help. I was gagged, remember? I could hardly make a sound.
Scooby Dooby Doo.
But in Zombie Island, there is no doubt. Monsters are real, and the gang must come to terms with this shakeup of their preconceived notions about the supernatural. We start with the typical Scooby-Doo plotline as the opening theme plays. Spooky rainy castle, scary monsters, music over a goofy chase scene. Things that, as Scooby fans, we are familiar with.
Scooby Doo, where are you?
We know how it's going to end. We then cut to, presumably, a few years later, with the gang having gone their separate ways. Shaggy and Scooby work at an airport, Velma owns a bookstore, and Fred and Daphne work in television. Daphne's show is starting its second season, and she wants one thing.
I've got a show to do. I need a real live ghost.
That's an oxymoron, Daphne.
So she and Fred get the group back together and take off to find proof of real monsters, giving us one of the best montages in all Scooby-Doo movies. But of course, all of these monsters are fake, and Daphne is disheartened, until a woman named Lena overhears and says that if they want real monsters, they should come to Moonscar Island.
Sorry, I couldn't help it over here. I work as a chef in a house on Moonsky Island, a house that really is haunted.
There, they meet Lena's employer, Simone, her gardener, Beau, the ferryman, Jacques, and a crazy fisherman named Snakebite. Pretty soon after introductions, the gang starts seeing unexplained things, with Daphne getting excited and Fred and Velma waving it off with logical explanations.
Wow! Is this great stuff or what?
But there's always a logical explanation for these things.
What's that? Like there's a logical explanation for the growling in our stomachs. We're hungry!
Shaggy and Scooby, of course, want nothing to do with Ghost, and instead indulge in the pepper plants that are grown on the island. This leads to them encountering zombies, which they immediately believe are real, but which again, Fred and Velma initially don't.
What's going on?
The reveal that the zombies are real is one of the best scenes in the movie and turns the established formula that we know on its head. Fred, as he is trying to pull off the zombie's mask, runs through our list of suspects.
It's the gardener.
No.
It's the fisherman.
No!
It's the ferryman.
Oh!
Maybe it's real.
He doesn't even know who it could be, but he knows it has to be someone, because it always is. Even after the zombie's head comes off with nothing underneath but a neck, he says they could be animatronic.
It must be animatronic.
Which causes Daphne to say that he is in denial.
You're in denial.
This first unmasking of the film is a false one. There is nothing to unmask because the zombies are exactly what they appear to be. But to know their motivations for what they are doing, we need to keep going. After running around away from the zombies, Lena rushes to them and says the zombies took Simone.
But the zombies came after us. They grabbed Miss Lenoir and dragged her away. Oh, thank goodness you've come.
The gang, with the exception of Shaggy and Scooby, rushes to help, only to find that they have been lured into a trap.
Sorry, Freddy. I really do like you.
Simone and Lena tied them down with voodoo dolls and reveal the truth. They lived on this island hundreds of years ago with their people, but pirates came and killed everyone, leaving them as the only survivors.
He drove the islanders into the bayou. All except for Lena and myself.
They prayed to their cat god for revenge, and it gave it to them, turning them into vicious cat people who killed the pirates. But this gift had a price. They must continually take the life force of living people to survive.
They had destroyed our island. Our wish was granted. Only afterwards did we discover that invoking the cat god's power had cursed us as well.
Jock is also revealed here to be a cat person, someone who wanted immortality and was willing to be the ferryman for it, helping Lena lure people to the island and to their deaths. This leads to the last major revelation of the film.
And those zombies are just the poor souls you drained. They were just trying to warn us so we wouldn't suffer the same fate they did.
The zombies weren't hostile. They were trying to save the gang from Simone and Lena, trying to warn them to get away. This is a twist on a common Scooby Doo phrase. Usually, when a villain tells them to go away, it's because they don't want them snooping and revealing their plan.
You are not welcome in the castle. Go now, or abandon all hope of seeing the sun again.
You stop that. We have permission to visit this castle.
Go! This is your last warning.
Here, it is used as a warning of danger, and the zombies want them to leave not because of selfish motives, but protective ones. They don't want to see them fall into the same trap. Shaggy and Scooby end up falling down the pit running from Jock and almost get their life force drained before Velma grabs the voodoo dolls and puts a stop to it.
You're not the only ones who like playing with dolls.
Without being able to drain a life, Simone, Lena, and Jock disintegrate under the full moon, dying in agony as their victims no doubt did.
Looks like your 9 lives are up.
With this, the zombies crumble, their souls free, finally able to rest in peace.
Sharks! Like, what's happening to them?
Their spirits have been avenged, Shaggy, so they can finally rest in peace.
Let's start with our unmasking for this film. First off, the order in which the person is revealed is reversed here. Instead of a monster being revealed to be a human, it's a human revealed to be a monster. Simone and Lena's transformation acts as our unmasking for this film, but they go from being people who we do not fear, notice how Fred doesn't mention either of them when trying to unmask the zombie, to being monsters actively trying to kill them. This also stands in contrast to the zombies. The zombies may look monstrous, but they are not a threat. The real threat is hiding for much of the film in plain sight. This makes rewatches of this film really interesting when you notice how much Simone and Lena are manipulating our perceptions of themselves and the others, casting doubt on Beau's innocence and carefully presenting themselves as the victims. They want this to seem like a typical mystery because it lures the gang and the audience into a false sense of security. We all know how this is going to play out. We saw it in the introduction, so there is nothing to fear. Even if you suspect Simone and Lena as being behind it all, you probably aren't expecting them to go against the norm so dramatically. Of course, Beau is also hiding his true identity, as he turns out to be a police officer sent to investigate the disappearances.
I'm Detective Beau Neville. Been working undercover, investigating the island disappearances.
Jinkies! So that's why you were digging around.
Yes, ma'am. Just trying to dig up evidence. Not positive my superiors will buy this story, though.
In fact, the only character in the whole film hiding nothing is Snakebite, the crazy fisherman who is presented from the beginning as being suspicious and untrustworthy. Again, playing on our perceptions of who to trust and who not to trust. I think it is also important to bring up how dark Zombie Island is compared to other Scooby Doo shows and movies. The villain's motivation is eternal life, and they are willing to kill literally hundreds of people to get it. If the gang hadn't stopped them, they would have kept doing it, probably forever. We see from the bodies that these weren't all evil people either, like the pirates at the beginning. They are tourists, farmers, regular people. After people stopped coming to the island willingly, Simone, Lena, and Jacques resorted to trickery and deceit to bring anybody they could get in order to suck their life for themselves. We established earlier that a common theme in all Scooby Doo is that humans are the real monsters. How much more monstrous can you get? In a Scooby Doo episode, the unmasking is one of the most important parts. It is when the villain is revealed, everything comes together, and the day is saved. These moments often happen at the end of the episode when we are in the falling action and getting ready to wrap everything up.
Now let's see who's really behind these bandages.
Dr. Najib!
The unmasking of the villain is also typically a literal one. The perp is wearing a mask that hides who they are. However, as we saw with Zombie Island, the unmasking is not a hard rule, nor does it have to be taken literally. The villains of Zombie Island were not wearing literal masks, but they were hiding their true identities, as was the detective who only revealed himself after everything was over. The unmasking for that film doesn't happen literally at all. Scooby Doo and the Witch's Ghost, on the other hand, has both literal and figurative unmaskings, 2 of each, and the 2 literal ones are preambles for the real villain reveal that happens at the end. Witch's Ghost picks up in the middle of a typical Scooby Doo adventure. Some archaeologists are dressed like undead Vikings, and the gang is here to stop them. However, it is not them that catch the zombies, but Ben Ravencroft, voiced by Tim Curry, a horror writer and personal hero of Velma's who invites the gang to his hometown of Oak Haven, Massachusetts.
Listen, Velma, I'm going back to my hometown in Massachusetts this weekend, to the house where I wrote my early books. I go back every year for the fall color. It's very peaceful and relaxing. Why don't you and your friends come visit?
Really? Oh, that would be great. Wouldn't it, gang? Yeah, we could use a break from all these spooky mysteries.
Once there, we learn a few things. 1, there is a ghost that's been appearing in town who, supposedly, is Ben's ancestor, Sarah, who is accused of and killed for being a witch.
Jinkies, looks like there's a ghost in your own backyard, Ben.
Not only that, but it's his own ancestor, the ghost of Sarah Ravencroft.
And 2, Ben has been obsessively looking for Sarah's journal in order to clear her name with no success.
Hey, I saw a huge oak tree like that in the town square.
I've already searched the area around that tree, but never found anything. That book could finally prove Sarah's innocence and that she was a Wiccan, not an evil witch.
As the film continues, we are introduced to the Hex Girls, whose popularity from this film would cause them to become reoccurring Scooby characters.
Mix it up here in my little bowl. Say a few words and you lose control. I'm a hex girl, and I'm gonna put a spell on you. I'm gonna put a spell on you.
We are also given a good amount of encounters with the ghost as well as investigative moments, which gives us our standard Scooby formula, a mixture of monsters and deduction.
Its foul deed.
Eventually, the gang catches the ghost, and we get our second unmasking of the film.
Okay, let's see who's behind all this. Like it's the t-shirt guy.
Mr. McKnight, the pharmacist?
Revealing that the mayor and some cronies were using Sarah's story to drum up tourism.
Well, I, for one, am totally shocked by this deception.
You can stop the charade now, Mayor, because you're the one who made me suspicious from the beginning.
I'm very disappointed in you, Mayor, and all of you, for lining your pockets by dragging Sarah Ravencroft's name through the mud.
But this is not where the film begins to trail off. In fact, we are not even at the climax yet. Velma eventually deduces where the journal is based on a buckle that Scooby found, and they dig up a box by the stump of an oak tree. Ben opens the box, and we finally see the journal, a yellowed book with a fanged skull on it. Ben reveals that the book is a spell book and that Sarah was indeed a witch.
Ben, that doesn't seem to be a journal at all.
Because it isn't, Velma. It's a spell book.
And he used the Scooby Gang to help him find it. He then says that Sarah was imprisoned in her spellbook, and he is going to reawaken her to gain power and rule the world.
The Wiccans imprisoned Sarah in her own spell book, and you helped me find it.
This leads to one of the most hectic and crazy Scooby finales of them all, complete with a car chase, evil pumpkins, a giant turkey, and a Wizard of Oz reference.
Let my buddy go, you creepy crone!
What was that?
You're not melting! Like it worked in The Wizard of Oz!
Eventually, Velma gets Thorn, who is 1/16th Wiccan, to read the counterspell. Fun fact, by the way, a lot of misconceptions about Wiccans actually come from this movie. Sarah begins to be sucked back into the book, but not before grabbing Ben and pulling him in with her.
I won't go back alone!
A burning tree branch then falls on the book, and everyone watches solemnly as it is destroyed. So pretty dark ending, right? It definitely ranks up there with Zombie Island for how scary and even disturbing it can be. I know that when I was a kid, Ben's death disturbed me. But the most interesting part of this ending is how it handles its figurative unmaskings. Ben and Sarah are both unmasked at the end of the film. Ben reveals that he paid the security guards and scientists at the museum to lure the gang there, making the beginning scene not as cut and dry as we might have believed. It was a ruse, and, unlike Zombie Island, it becomes part of the villain's larger plot.
I knew if anyone could help me find the book, it was you and your friends. I orchestrated the whole mummy scheme, paying off the archaeologists and the security guards, just to lure you to the museum so we could meet.
Fred accuses the mayor of being in on Ben's plan, but Ben says that the ghost was the town's idea, which adds a dividing line between our traditional Scooby plotline and what the film actually ends up being about. In this way, Ben is presented as not just a standard villain, but a manipulator, someone who is actively messing with the established formula. He lured the gang, and therefore us, to him with routine and then violently upset at the end, revealing that he was the monster all along. This is punctuated by him removing his glasses, a nod to how he is showing his true self, and also how he was manipulating Velma with this pretend vulnerability. On the other hand, Sarah, throughout the whole film, has been presented as a misunderstood healer, who was accused unfairly and unjustly, like all in the witch trials. Velma even brings up the Salem witch trials by name when talking about her.
Just like the Salem witch trials, many men and women who were a bit different or didn't conform to the codes of the colony suffered the same fate.
Ben claims to want the journal to prove this innocence. But as we see, Sarah is actually a witch, and a very evil one at that. Ben explains how the Wiccans trapped Sarah in her spellbook, presumably risking exposure to a superstitious society just to stop her. We do not get much on Sarah's life, but she must have been doing horrible things to have been imprisoned like that. When she is released, she has little interest in siding with Ben, but instead wants to punish the world, using her magic to rot trees and destroy buildings.
Thou hast freed me, so now I can punish the world for my long imprisonment. I shall create an era of darkness over this land.
In this way, Ben and Sarah encapsulate two of our major Scooby themes, greed and revenge, with Ben wanting power and Sarah seeking punishment for those who wronged her. Here, these themes are also working against each other, as Ben tells Sarah he wants to rule the world, not destroy it.
This isn't what I envisioned. We were supposed to rule the world together, not destroy it.
I care not for thy whims. Cross my path, and I shall destroy thee along with thy world.
But Sarah doesn't care, and her thirst for revenge completely consumes her. Both the gang and Ben had these ideas of Sarah in their head, one side seeing her as an innocent victim, and the other seeing her as a powerful ally, who could be bought through releasing her. Sarah is therefore unmasked in two separate ways. She is not a victim, nor is she an ally. She is a witch, a traditional Scooby villain brought to terrifying life. Scooby Doo and the Alien Invaders is my favorite of these three Scooby films. It is heartfelt, exciting, interesting, and gave us that bittersweet subplot and goodbye that added so much depth to Shaggy as a character. This is not the first time that Shaggy has been given a love interest. The 1988 TV movie Scooby Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf had the character of Googie, who is introduced as already being Shaggy's girlfriend.
Oh, Shaggy! Yippee! Hooray! No more werewolf!
Later, Mystery Incorporated would explore a relationship between Shaggy and Velma, which ends bitterly after Shaggy says he isn't ready for a committed romantic relationship, choosing Scooby over her.
Not here. Velma not in public.
Why? Daphne and Fred are going to find out sooner or later.
I'm not worried about them. It's Scooby Doo. He's my best friend. I want to break it to him, like, gently. I'm just waiting for the right time.
But unlike these, Alien Invaders explores Shaggy being in love, giving us Crystal, who is a wonderful character, and making the love at first sight cliché work by having them actually form a rapport as the film progresses. Like Witch's Ghost, Invaders also mixes the literal and figurative unmasking. This time, unlike in Witch's Ghost, the people in mask are the real villains, and the actual aliens are the good guys. While driving through the desert, Shaggy crashes the mystery machine after spotting a UFO, leaving the gang stranded and in need of a mechanic. Shaggy and Scooby end up spotting aliens and run to town in a panic. We are introduced to a few eccentric side characters, which this film excels at. Dottie and Sergio, the waitress and chef at the diner, and Lester, who claims to have been kidnapped and experimented on by aliens. Later that night, Shaggy and Scooby are abducted and wake up in the desert, where we meet Crystal and her dog, Amber. Thus begins the romance subplot, which includes the amazing song How Groovy.
How groovy, just us two, so groovy. Don't forget Scooby Doo. Groovy, our love will never be blue.
However, Crystal's real identity is soon called into question, as she reveals that her claim about being a nature photographer was a lie, and she is actually a government agent. Shaggy continues to trust her and wants to help, and this leads them to a gold mine, literally. Turns out, a group of alien researchers have been disguising themselves as aliens to mine the gold and keep away locals, even hiring two guys to be fake MPs. During the showdown between the gang and the fake aliens, Crystal and Amber reveal their true forms as actual aliens and fight back against the researchers. Scooby and Shaggy, initially terrified of them, realize who they are and immediately rush in to help them.
Shaggy! Those aliens are Crystal and Amber!
Huh? What are you talking about?
Look at them! Shaggy! Help!
Those are the girls!
After the fake aliens are defeated, Crystal and Amber say goodbye, with Crystal kissing Shaggy before departing.
Thanks, everyone. We had a great adventure and made new friends.
This kiss is vitally important to the romance subplot here, not just for the obvious reasons, but also for how it is presented. No over-the-top sound effects or facial expressions, nothing cartoonish about it. It is taken seriously, which shows that both the characters and the writers took this relationship seriously. While Shaggy and Scooby are presented as getting over it pretty quickly, dipping back into the cartoonishness of Scooby Doo, the actual moments between Shaggy and Crystal are presented as a real heartfelt relationship. The unmasking of Crystal and Amber is interesting in two ways. One, it's built up well with Crystal's initial lie about her identity and the fact that they reveal their alien forms to the audience and the villains before showing Shaggy and Scooby. We know what is going on before the gang does, which is rare in Scooby Doo. Two, a major theme of this film is not judging someone by their outside appearance. The researchers seem nice and good-natured, but are actually greedy and malicious, deciding to abandon the gold in favor of something that could make them even more wealthy. Real aliens.
If we captured those aliens, it would be worth more than all this gold!
You know, I think you're right.
Buck, the mechanic, who is large and intimidating when we first meet him, reveals at the end that he collects flowers, a hobby he hides because he doesn't want people to see his softer side.
It's just a little hobby of mine. I collect pressed flowers.
That's really nice.
I'm keeping it quiet, because when people think you're soft, they walk all over you.
Likewise, Crystal and Amber initially seem scary and monstrous, but reveal that they are still themselves, even with their new guise. Shaggy realizes this when Crystal calls for help and accepts that this is who they really are at the end, and that he loves her regardless. Character design is a vitally important aspect in this film as well, even more so than in other Scooby media. The researchers look small, have gentle facial features, and laid-back postures. Buck, as mentioned earlier, is huge and scary looking, at least at first. Lester looks like a typical crazy person, from his facial features to his hair and even the way he walks. But the most important of these is Crystal versus the fake alien design. The fake aliens have a look that is very typical scary alien: big heads, 3 fingers, metal clothes. They are very detailed and meant to be off-putting and even gross looking. Crystal has many of these same features: large head, 3 fingers. But her softer color palette of light blues and the fact that she wears no clothes in alien form makes her look more ethereal, otherworldly. She is scary but also beautiful, which reflects her double-sided nature, a kind and gentle person who is also an alien, something we've been told throughout the film we are supposed to fear. The lack of clothes could also be seen as a way of showing that she has nothing more to hide. This is her real self.